All right. How's everybody doing? We all good? I know I was supposed to start at 7, 7 my time, but I couldn't wait any longer. Are we good on sound? Can you guys hear me? All right, let me try this again. Are we good now? All right, cool. Yeah, I was supposed to start at 7, but we just I can't remember a draft ever being like this. Like I've seen, if I look over here, it's because I've got the draft up on this TV. Like I've seen articles and a whole bunch of reports and tweets prior to this draft talking about how there's going to be a lot of trades, there's going to be a lot of movement with picks, but this is just like this is on another level. Like I don't understand what's happening. I think there's already been like 4 trades involving picks if you include the TJ Warren thing. There's been like 2 or 3 top 10 picks traded. Is This is going to be a lot to keep up with. Yeah, so someone said, why would the Suns move back? I don't know because I really thought that the Suns were going to stay where they were just because it seemed like that was a logical place for Darius Garland to get picked if he got there because they need a point guard. But then on second thought, they did trade away TJ Warren, which I can certainly talk about, which kind of makes me think they're getting rid of salaries to get cap space for somebody, and that somebody might be someone like D'Angelo Russell, so maybe it doesn't make sense for them to take a guard. Um, so I don't know. I really didn't expect the Suns to move out of 6. I thought that someone would move ahead of them, maybe to get Garland. And the Timberwolves are clearly targeting somebody. It could be Garland. Like if he gets past 6, I'd be surprised, and I also wouldn't be shocked if someone moves up to 5 to get him. Yeah, at least there's content. There will not be a lack of content from this draft. That's for sure. Yeah, it's got to be a D'Angelo Russell thing. I mean, it is the Suns, so you never know because the TJ Warren thing was idiotic. Like they wanted to get out from under salary, but TJ Warren makes like 3 million more than Josh Jackson does this coming season. I understand that he had injury issues, only played half the season, but he shot over 40% on over 4 attempts per game from three. Had a really good season despite the injury stuff, and they just gave him away. Plus, like essentially a first round pick. The 32nd pick is technically second round, just to dump his salary and pursue whoever in free agency. I don't know. What's up, Rex? The Suns are blowing it up. Apparently, the Pacers absolutely robbed the Suns. I mean, the only way it makes sense is if they get somebody with the cap space that they're creating, which they can get between like 23 and 27 million. It's the only time it makes sense. Who are the Wizards getting? I have no idea. They're 9, I think. If I can look at the, I don't have this order pulled up the way that you guys have it. Yeah, they're 9, and I understand that the order is outdated, but hopefully, ESPN will fix that and get it updated. 199 from Rex. Appreciate it, bud. Thank you. Uh, yeah, this is insane. And I didn't even talk about the other half of um, the Suns trade, the Timberwolves, because that somehow expands upon the Jimmy Butler trade, which I'll have to look back and see because they got Sarge and Covington for Jimmy Butler, and then they get the ability to move up to 6 plus their own 11 with Dario Sarge. And again, I don't really know who they're targeting with that, but Dario Sarge should be a good player for the Suns. They're just going to have to pay him in, I believe, a year. The only problem with all this, and it's not even a problem because so many crazy things are happening, is we kind of know what 1 through 4 is going to be. It seems like Atlanta move up to get DeAndre Hunter, and then 3 is going to be RJ Barrett and Zion, and Ja obviously are 1 and 2. So give me 1 second. Sorry, just trying to make sure nobody busts in the room because I'm starting a little bit early. Trade rewind video for Jimmy Butler incoming. I don't know about all that. It's a little early for that, but maybe someday. Yeah, I mean, can we think of anybody else that the Suns are targeting with cap space that would actually go there? Because I mean, they obviously need a point guard. They've needed a point guard for forever, and D'Lo would be a talented young guy that would kind of fit their timeline. I mean, I was gonna say they have plenty of wings, but they don't really have any good wings left because they just traded TJ Warren. So Jackson said Kobe White or Garland are who the Timberwolves are probably targeting. That was my first thought as well because Jeff Teague, I believe he opted in, but I mean he's not their long term guy anyway, so he's only going to be there for another year. So probably going to need a point guard at 6. But it again, like if that's what they're planning on though, because the Woj tweeted or somebody tweeted that they were trying to get up to 4, 5, or 6, which makes me think that they're trying to get Garland. But the problem is someone could move right ahead of them at 5 because the Cavs obviously have Colin Sexton, and so they could get value out of 5 if they want to move back. Mikhail's a good wing. We'll see. He didn't have a very good rookie season, which I mean that doesn't mean that he's not going to be good. But in terms of like proven good NBA wings, they just traded their only one. Maybe they hope Cam Reddish is going to be there at 11. I read a tweet that, and again, I think this was Shams, that the Hawks were trying to decide between DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish at 4 when they moved up. So maybe Cam's going higher than we think he is. Josh Jackson is apparently their future wing. Yeah, you're right. And the other thing about because we haven't even talked about, or I mean, we talked briefly about the Hawks moving up. We haven't talked about the Pelican side. Um, it's also pretty important that they managed to dump Solomon Hill's contract. It's an expiring, but they dumped that contract as well, and it's going to get really complicated because none of these trades have actually gone through in terms of like the AD trade and stuff. They haven't gone through, so there's a lot of moving pieces. So the Brooklyn Atlanta trade where they dumped Alan Crabb's salary still hasn't gone through, and then they still have to do the AD trade, and then the Pelicans are trading the 4th pick to Atlanta for all these other picks, and so all those things are going to go together apparently. Any chance Kevin Love is getting traded? I think that they should. Um, I don't know who's trading for him on that contract, but they definitely should try and get some value out of him. He's not going to get any more valuable than he is right now. The draft starts about a half an hour, about 30 minutes. If they didn't just get Dario, they could target Brandon Clark, but the Suns are in kind of a weird spot. Yeah, I mean, I like Dario for them. They need a good 4. I thought he was underutilized in Minnesota. It was really weird how little they used him, considering they traded Jimmy Butler for him. So we'll see. I don't know. I feel like Bol Bol this year is similar to obviously Mo Bamba went much higher and will probably could end up being a much better player, but Bol Bol is kind of the guy that everybody's fallen in love with as this really big guy that it's very skilled, can shoot and everything. But it seems like Bol Bol is going to go like in the 20s, based on everything I'm reading at least. Kevin Love for 10, Crab and Hill. I don't think you're going to get a top 10 pick for Kevin Love at this point. I mean, yeah, and then the salary relief as well, so probably not. So Corbin says, how much better would the Pacers be with TJ Warren? I've trashed the Suns enough, so I'm going to stop. But he was a really good shooter last year. I'm a little bit concerned about him potentially falling off shooting wise because it was only one season, and I'm blanking because it was only one season. Before that, he only shot like 23% from 3 in his career, but he shot over 4 attempts per game, over 40% from 3 in about 40-ish games. He had like a foot issue, like a bone bruise or something that caused him to miss like 30 something games. He's not going to be the greatest defender, but he's a really good wing. He's on a relatively fair deal, making between like 10 and 12 million for the next 3 years. And the Pacers still have max cap space too if they wanted to use it on someone like D'Angelo Russell potentially, that obviously the Suns are trying to target as well, it seems like. Yeah, in case you guys didn't know, and I said this in the beginning, it's in the description, I can't actually show the draft if you guys want the stream to stay up, because if I show the ESPN stream, then it's going to get taken down. So I have everything up here. I'm sitting here watching, and I'm assuming you guys are watching along as well. So I can't actually have the draft up. Can I increase my mic volume? Yeah, I can turn it up a little bit. There we go. And that's the other thing with the Hawks is they really, really did not want to give up 10 when they were trying to move up. They're trying to move up from 8 into now, obviously they're picking 4th, but they kept 10 as well. And so they're going to be able to get another really good player to go along, really good young player to go along with Trae Young and Kevin Huerter and John Collins, and then apparently DeAndre Hunter. Kevin Love for favors, Exum, and a second, plus whoever for money. That's probably a little bit, probably not quite enough for Kevin Love. I mean, it's salary relief certainly for the Cavs. I'm assuming that money works out. I'm not sure if it does. I think it's pretty close though. And then Kevin Love was someone that I said that the Jazz should target in their What's Next video. Only problem with that is it takes up all their cap space for next summer because they can actually go into the summer of 2020 with like 25 million in space because favors will be coming off and everything. But it certainly helps the Cavs a lot. Just they're not really getting anything out of it other than dumping his contract, which is still helpful, but I don't know if that's enough for them to pull the trigger right now. Oh, Jimmer Range, what's up, bud? I didn't see you until now. Thanks for hanging out. Um, should the Pelicans trade Holiday? The only problem with that potentially is that they wouldn't really have any veterans anymore. Like, I mean, at least good players, unless I'm completely blanking on somebody. And they'd have all these young guys, and that can be good because they definitely get value out of Drew Holiday. They'd probably get more picks and maybe a young player because he's really, really good. But they probably need like one really good veteran, borderline all-star caliber player to kind of help these young guys along, even though he does have value. And really, how many more picks do they need? Like they're going to have like 25 picks over the next, 6 or 7 seasons. What do I think of the rumor of Boston trading for a high contract player like Love, CP3, Capella, Drew Wiggins, or Steven Adams? I read that as well because obviously they have more cap space now with Kyrie and Al Horford gone. And I mean, I guess they're not looking to sign anybody with it. They're just saying, hey, we'll take, a bad contract off somebody's hands and not really have to give up value for it. I don't really know how many players make sense for them because I don't really think Chris Paul is all that tradable. From things that I've read, they've literally just tried to give Chris Paul away and nobody's taking him, even for just like no value in return. So I don't think it's a bad idea for Boston, but if I were them, like you've got all these picks still, you've still got 3 picks this year, and they're probably a team to look at potentially moving up. I don't think they're going to end up with 3 players out of this draft in the first round. You've got all these picks this year. You still got the Memphis pick next year, the following. Just roll with the young guys. Don't look to take on big contracts, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they did. It just wouldn't be what I would do personally. Trade Holiday to get younger players that look like they'll have the best young court. Right, but the only issue is like it's not 2K, right? Like that if this was 2K, then yeah, Drew Holiday would be gone. He's like 27 or 28. I could be wrong in his age. He doesn't really fit the timeline of the other players. But in real life, like you need a couple of guys around to just kind of, at least in my opinion, to help some of the younger players along, show them what it's like to be a good NBA player because nobody on their roster has made an all-star team or really had a super, super productive season and haven't had playoff success and things like that. So you kind of need a guy like Drew Holiday around. So I think it makes sense. I think he provides a ton of value to their team other than just obviously being a good player on the court. And like depending on who they pick up tonight and how good Zion is in his rookie year and his sophomore year, like they're going to be pretty good straight off the bat, assuming they stay healthy and their young players gel. I've seen like 6 or 7 people mention Taco Fall's name. Where's Kobe White going? It's a good question. It's just so hard to tell because of all the movement and people are trading up and down. And it seems like Garland is going to go, he's definitely going to go like 5 or lower. And I would have said originally that there's no way he gets past 6 to the Suns because they need a point guard. But now it kind of seems like that's who the Timberwolves are moving up for. And then Kobe White is kind of the next point guard. I'd be surprised if he ended up outside of the top 10. But beyond that, I don't really have a prediction for Kobe White just because things are so crazy right now. What's my honest opinion on Cam Reddish? he's probably, in my opinion, the biggest like boomer bust guy in the draft because he's obviously got some skill. He's got a ton of natural feel, really good athlete. He's actually a really good defender at Duke, but he's a shooter that can't shoot right now. Like I don't see a ton of other offensive skill from him at an NBA level at least. And so he's kind of a 3-and-D player that can't shoot. And that makes me a little bit nervous. He's obviously very young. He has plenty of room to grow. So if he got picked at like 5, 6, or 7 tonight, I wouldn't be surprised. If he went like 9 or 10, I wouldn't be surprised. And if he's out of the league in 3 years, that makes sense to me. Or if he's an all-star in 4 years, that makes sense to me too. Like he has such variance of where he could be and what he could end up being in the league that it's really difficult to tell. I'm a little bit more negative on him than most people just because I just didn't see a lot of really good signs at Duke in terms of his shooting and anything but defense. So, do I think Cam is a higher boomer bust prospect than Bol Bol? I mean, I don't know if you can really put like you can't really call a guy a boomer bust if he's going to go in the 20s, you know, like so I wouldn't really even put Bol Bol in like the boomer bust category. Chris Redder gave me 5. I appreciate it, buddy. He said, "Are my Nuggets going to be making any moves?" Well, I know they don't have a first this year because they dumped Kenneth Reed's salary on the Nets, and that's why the Nets had 2 first-round picks, and they gave one away to Atlanta. Unless it involves trading some of their players, but the issue with that is they obviously are coming off of a good season, and they don't want to kind of mess with any of that chemistry. So I would be shocked if they did because it would probably involve someone like Gary Harris, whose value went down this past season, didn't have as good of a year. And I really don't think they're going to end up trading like Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic or anybody like that. So I would be pretty surprised if they ended up making a big move. Maybe they buy their way into like the early second round and try and get somebody there. But they're basically getting a first round pick this year because Michael Porter Jr. will be healthy, hopefully. So I appreciate the 5, Chris. He said, played against Reddish, Hunter, and Bamba in high school, and seeing Bamba already drafted and with Cam and Hunter getting drafted tonight is crazy. Yeah, I talked about this last year when I did a live stream. By the way, the last time I did a live stream, I didn't realize it, was like when DeMarcus Cousins signed with the Warriors was the last time I did a live stream. It's been too long. No, it's crazy. Like when you get to my age, oh my gosh, I sound ancient. Once you get to like the age of people that are actually in the NBA right now, it's crazy because like I played against Devontae Graham in high school, Jerome Robinson as well as a lottery pick last year. I've seen Kobe White play in person tons of times, and he's going to be a top 10 pick this year. Like it's crazy to see guys like that. So I understand the feeling for sure. John Johnson gave me 5. I appreciate it, buddy. He said, Cavs traded JR on the 26th pick for pick 13. What do you think they can get for Kevin Love? Is that actually a thing? Hold on. I gotta check my phone. I can't just assume. 1 second. I didn't get a notification, but let me check. The only thing I got, it says Cleveland GM Kobe Altman is still entertaining offers for the number 5 pick. League sources tell ESPN. So I don't know if that's actually true or if you're just asking the question. It could just been, poorly worded. I do think J.R. Smith has value to some teams that are trying to get out from under salary just because he can be bought out for next year and everything like that. But I haven't actually seen that trade, but I do appreciate the 5, John. So yeah, like it could be a scenario where because again, everything says that the Timberwolves were trying to get to 4 or 5, and then they settled by going to 6 with the Suns. And now it's the Cavs are actively shopping 5 because I think that has a ton of value because it really seems like the Timberwolves were trying to get Darius Garland, and someone could very easily jump in front at 5. So the 4th and 5th picks, 4th has already been traded, and the 5th could be traded as well. And if that happens, I wouldn't be surprised if Kobe White goes 6. There's a lot of people asking questions about Kevin Love. I didn't expect to talk about him too much, but I mean, I guess it is apparently trade night, not just draft night. What do you think about Portland possibly getting Kevin Love? I think I yeah, I talked about them and him in the What's Next video. Any team that, especially now, because obviously the Warriors are going to be hurt and the West is wide open, any team in the West that doesn't have any other avenues to creating cap space or getting a borderline all-star caliber player when healthy, Kevin Love is someone that they should look at trying to get if they have expiring contracts or 2-year contracts so they can send back to Cleveland to get them out from under that salary. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up on a different team, probably in the West, that's capped out, but that's their way of improving even without space. John, it's all good, bud. Like it can be a little bit confusing and there's a lot going on. So no worries. I mean, it sounded real. Like you convinced me. I had to go check my phone, but it's all good, bud. How many trades do I think are going down? Like, again, I've seen, I can't remember who it is. I've been on Twitter way too much in the last 2 or 3 days. I can't remember who it was, but there's some record for first round picks traded on draft night. And I think it's like 12 or 13. And I wouldn't be surprised if that record gets broken. I think it was actually Woj that tweeted that in response to somebody. Yeah, we're not going to talk about LaMelo Ball until like the only Ball brother that I want to talk about is Lonzo. Everybody else, I'm tired of hearing about him. I'm tired of talking about him and being anything close to relevant as it relates to the NBA, with the exception of Lonzo. No, I can't. I can't stream the draft. This is the last time I'm going to say it, but a couple people have been asking. I can't stream the actual draft. The stream would get taken down because I can't show ESPN's content as my own. Could the Clips trade Danilo for a first? I doubt it, just because everybody knows. So if the Clippers ended up trading Danilo Gallinari, then that is very similar to the Knicks trading Kristaps Porzingis and the Nets getting rid of Allen Crabbe. It says to me that they think that they're getting 2 max guys, because that would open up 2 max slots. And Danilo Gallinari is a good player, but I think it would be very clear to a team if they're trying to trade him that they're doing it for cap space and they would want compensation in return in addition to Gallo. I don't know if I can play the audio. Honestly, I don't want to. I don't want to mess with it too much. I've got it pulled up here. I've got the draft order there, and we can talk about it just the same. I don't want to. I don't want to mess with potentially getting copyright and stuff like that. So, Jack 199, I appreciate it. He said, "Don't forget about us from the Twitch rebuild days." Yes, the like 4, 5, 6 times that I hopped on Twitch and streamed some rebuilds. I would really like to get into that stuff, man. For right now, I just don't have enough time. Like I am very, very busy trying to get all these videos and stuff out. I've really amped up the upload schedule, especially the last like 2 or 3 months, uploading 4 and 5 times a week. So I would like to get back into that stuff, but maybe someday, maybe once I start to establish things a little bit more on that platform. But between this and the podcast and stuff, takes up most of my time. Who do I see falling furthest from their projected spot? I mean, it depends on who's projecting you're looking at, because I mean, I saw plenty of stuff over the last couple of days that said that Jarrett Culver was going to go 4 or 5, and now it really seems like the guy that people want within the top 5 or 6 is Darius Garland. So like if there's a scenario where someone moves up to 5, picks Garland, the T-Wolves get Kobe White at 6, maybe Culver goes to like 7 or 8 instead of potentially 4 or 5. But beyond that, I don't know. There's just so much movement right now. It's hard to tell. I'm going to go, before the draft actually starts, I'm going to go grab some water really quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry. I've learned from experience doing podcasts and streams that it is definitely necessary to have plenty of water sit by because your voice will get tired. At least mine will. I apologize as well. There's a little bit of a delay for like if I'm talking about something and you guys are a little bit behind in the chat. It thinks it's like 5 or 6 seconds, but I can't really help it. That's just the normal latency that that YouTube has. This is crazy. So there's the 4 trades, right? And I talked about all of them. Like I said, I had to hop on a little bit early because this is just craziness. I'm still looking, like I haven't seen anything about the Celtics potentially getting somebody. They've got 3 picks. Like before before the Kyrie stuff and the Horford stuff went down, a lot of people were saying that the Celtics were going to move up and they were going to try and consolidate their 3 picks into 1 or 2 guys. But now, I mean, maybe they keep them just because they need players. Like they've got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Terry Rozier's a restricted free agent. They have Marcus Smart, and then that's pretty much it, with the exception of like Semi Ojeleye. There's so many teams now with multiple picks in the first round. Like the Spurs have 2 picks. The Pelicans have 2 firsts in the 35th. The Hawks have 4 and 10. The Celtics have 3 firsts. Wayne said the Bulls should trade up for the 5th pick. I would be very surprised if someone doesn't trade up for 5. Or like maybe the Cavs pick somebody and then they trade them afterwards. Kuya with the 99 cents. Appreciate it, bud. Thank you. Chris Paul to Miami. Y'all can tell me whose thumbnail was that? What other guy on YouTube had that in their thumbnail? I don't remember. I didn't watch the video. I just saw the thumbnail. I'll be honest. I'm planning a video for probably within like the next week, because tomorrow's going to be a draft video, and then Monday is going to be Raptors What's Next. But at some point, I'm going to put out like a most untradeable contracts video, and Chris Paul is going to be on there. I don't think there's any way that he's going to be able to. I don't think there's any way they can get to dump his contract. Kuya with another 99 cents. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you. Who should target CP3? I don't know. Like the only team I could see. First of all, I don't think he's getting moved. Like I think that they are eventually going to realize that they are so close to being potentially in the finals if they keep the same group together and they make a couple of moves to, fill out the wing rotation a little bit. Because I mean, really, if the Golden State Warriors didn't exist, or if they existed in the capacity the Raptors faced in the finals, then the Rockets make the finals the last 2 years. You know what I mean? Like if they faced what the team that the Raptors just faced in the finals the last 2 years, then the Rockets would make the finals. So I think eventually everybody in Houston is going to realize, hey, we should probably calm it down. Everybody should just make up, and we should bring back CP3. 1, they're not going to be able to trade him. And 2, like they have a really, really good team that could challenge to be in the Western Conference Finals, and then potentially the finals if everybody gets along. Am I going to mute Woj when the draft starts to avoid pick spoilers? No, I want to know as soon as I've got the draft coverage up, but I want to know as soon as I can. I apologize if I'm on my phone. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just lots of things are happening and got to be on Twitter. Yeah, so Windhorse is reporting the Knicks they're locked in on RJ Barrett with the third pick, which makes sense. Um, I want to get y'all's opinion on this a little bit because I am like, I mean, I'm convinced that RJ Barrett's the third best player in this draft right now. But are we not concerned about how how little excitement there is for this guy? Like the Knicks have brought in two players in the last 24 hours for an emergency workout, being Garland and Kobe White, and just it doesn't seem like they're all that excited about taking RJ Barrett. Like he's clearly a talented player, but uh, I mean, is he just the third pick by default? I don't really know how excited we're supposed to be about him. Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, like it's been a long time since I've done a stream. It's been almost a year. Um, so, and the last time I did this, it was like 200. No, sorry, it's like I had like 20,000 subs, and now we're closing in on 60. So there's like zero excitement about everyone except Zion. I mean, I'm really excited about Jah Morant, and the draft order's wrong. I know it's ESPN's page. I can't do anything about it. Hopefully they'll update it. And no, I mean, guys, I'm excited about. I think Kobe White's going to be really good. I don't have any opinion on Darius Garland because he barely played in college. Like, I don't really know how I'm supposed to have an opinion on him if I haven't like been in a draft workout or something. Uh, so I'm excited about Ja, Zion, Kobe White. Beyond that, I don't know. It's kind of a weird draft because there's some interesting players. Like Bol is definitely piqued people's interest, but in terms of guys that I think are actually going to be really good that I'm confident about, it's just Zion, John, and Kobe White pretty much. All right, I'll refresh the page. I thought I did earlier, but yeah, we're good now. I appreciate it. Yep. Man, look at all this. So the fourth pick got moved, the sixth pick got moved, the eighth pick got moved as a result of the fourth. 10th was already a trade from, I believe that's the Mavs pick um, that the Hawks got. And then Suns at 11, Boston's at 14. I don't know. I'm interested to see what the Suns do at 11 just because they must not have been excited about someone like Darius Garland or Kobe White or any of the wings that might be available after them, or they've got other free agency plans, so they wanted to have a cheaper rookie. I don't know. We shall definitely see. I'm ready to get it started, and I hope this is one of those things where when ESPN says, "Hey, the draft is starting at 7," they start picking players at 7 because it's going to take a little bit of picks before we actually have any kind of surprises because we know what's happening 1 through 4. Oh, another guy that I've seen a lot of love for in the last, I'd say like week and a half that could go anywhere from like 15 to 25 is Ty Jerome, and he's just one of those like a little bit older guys that should go later in the first round that could end up being really, really good. Malcolm Brogdon, obviously a guy from Virginia that went second round and is super valuable for the Bucks and is about to get paid. 7 Eastern time, by the way, is when it starts. So 1 minute, supposedly. What do I think the Blazers need to do to reach the finals? Not the Warriors are gone, and where do you think they'll end up this season? I wouldn't say the Warriors are gone, by the way. They might be on a bit of a break for a year if they bring back Kevin Durant and then he comes back healthy in 2020. But the Blazers are one of those teams, just like we saw with the Jazz trading for Mike Conley, which today's video is about, that just they're probably like one or two moves away from giving themselves a real shot at making the finals. I mean, they made the Western Conference Finals and didn't look great in the second half of those games, but in the first half looked good and could have easily taken 1 or 2 games off the Warriors. So in terms of specific moves, I mean, I talked about the Kevin Love stuff in their What's Next video. I mean, they need front court scoring and they need help on the wing so that they can guard, because I believe Al-Farouq Aminu is a free agent. So they shouldn't have screwed themselves over by signing guys like Evan Turner to big contracts when they had cap space, because now they're capped out, at least until next offseason. So it's probably going to have to be something related to them trading for a bigger contract and getting rid of someone like Zach Collins, potentially Myers Leonard's expiring, and getting a good player that way because they're capped out. So much love for Bol Bol. I'm telling you, Bol Bol is the Mo Bamba of this year's draft, except just like in terms of hype, by the way, not in terms of player, in terms of hype, just instead of being in the lottery, it's like in the 20s. And then I'm excited to see what my Nets do. I believe we're at 27 is the Nuggets pick. Let me check. Yeah, 27. And then the Pistons have the Bucks pick. It's not updated down there for some reason. The Pistons have 15 and 30. Like, look at all these teams that have multiple picks. Obviously, the Pelicans are at 1, 8, and where they at 17. The Hawks have 4 and 10. Celtics have 14, 20, and 22. So it's a lot of ammo for these teams to move up if they wanted to. Am I streaming the entire draft? We'll see how it goes. I mean, I doubt I'm going to stream for all 30 picks, just because eventually things will probably calm down, I would imagine. I'm definitely going to stream the entire lottery, and then beyond that, we'll just kind of play it by ear. That should go for a big. I wouldn't be shocked if the Nets ended up with someone like Bol Bol or Kevin Porter. I know Kevin Porter's not a big, but those are just some guys I've seen thrown around. Refreshing the screen because a couple people asked me to. I'm not sure why. What are we doing? What's going on? Oh, did you guys hear that they get, like, I guess they get watches or something? All the first round picks get a watch to commemorate being drafted. I don't know why this page won't refresh. Got Woj on the desk. Chauncey Billups in the brightest suit of all time, and then Jay Billis. What is this page doing? What am I looking at? There we go. All right, we should be good. I am watching it with you guys on ESPN, just on a separate TV, because I don't want to have the stream get taken down for copyright. Oh, the Hawks got, or excuse me, the Pelicans got a 2020 protected first in that Hawks deal as well. Interesting. I'm telling you, they're going to have 1 million picks through 2025. ESPN glitching out. Yeah, there's, I'm sure a lot of people have that page pulled up, so it's understandable. See, Jay Billis has Kobe White at 5, ahead of Darius Garland in his top 10. Take that what you want. Culver at 7, Reddish at 8. I don't know. Like, the fact that the Hawks were seriously looking at Cam Reddish at 4 when they traded up, it makes me think maybe he's going to go a little bit higher than I thought he would. Maybe they put Woj on the desk so they can keep an eye on him spoiling picks on Twitter. Yeah, wasn't the deal last year that Mark Stein started spoiling picks, so Woj did too, just with his interesting language. Right. Woj just said that it looks like Minnesota is targeting a point guard at 6, either Garland or White. But he said it seems more likely that it's White, which means that somebody's moving up to 5, it seems like, to get Garland, because I don't think there's any way that Cleveland's going to take him. Am I for sure that Jah's going second? Yes, I'm 100% sure. People keep spamming in here that the Draymond trade is going to happen soon. I doubt it. There's no way. It's just technically the Nets have 17 and 27, but that's just they're picking for the Hawks at 17, or I guess for the Pelicans now at 17. Yeah, it's going to be, oh my gosh. The draft starts in 24 minutes. Of course it does. 7 p.m. typical TV stuff. 7 p.m. start actually starts at 7:30. I know that it's probably just their TV coverage starts at 7. That's ridiculous. Yeah, Woj left the desk to go spoil stuff on Twitter. I didn't think it was all that likely that he was going to stay on the desk, and he just tweeted my time at least. Interesting. So the timing of everything with the Anthony Davis trade is now solidified. There's no way that the Lakers are going to be able to get max cap space out of that trade, or after that trade, excuse me, because the only way that would have happened is if they waited until the 30th. And Woj just tweeted that once a third team got involved, the Lakers had agreed that they would just go ahead and do everything on the 6th. So they're not going to get max cap space, which is a big deal. That was so funny. Literally just got off the desk and then tweeted. He's got all kinds of stuff in his drafts, I'm sure of it. Minnesota picking another point guard 10 years later, deja vu. True, 2009 draft was the Johnny Flynn Steph draft. Couldn't get out of their own way. It was, to be fair, it was the Johnny Flynn, Ricky Rubio, and Steph draft, and Blake Griffin draft as well. Did you guys see the edit that Bleacher Report put out the other day for like what if the Clippers had picked Steph number 1? That was actually insane editing. I don't know how they did that. Can the Lakers create max cap space by some player movement? No, there's no. I don't think there's a way, because the only guys that they have left, other than like Kuzma, LeBron, and Anthony Davis, are all making. They're like Mo Wagner and Isaac Bonga, and they're all making like $2 million or 1.7. And even if they got rid of them, they need to have 5 players on the roster. Otherwise, those roster spots, so like if they got rid of Wagner and Manga, would still account for like $900,000 on the cap. So they'd only save like 1.3 or, or maybe less than per player. So that'd create like 3 more million in space, which doesn't get them close to the 32 number. And AD's not waiving his trade thing anyway. So there's no possible way for the Lakers to get max cap space, because now that the third team is involved in the deal, they're going to go ahead and go through with it on the 6th. Because again, I know it's weird, but a lot of all these trades, even going back to the Atlanta Nets one where they dumped Alan Crabb's contract on the Hawks, none of these trades have actually gone through. They're just in principle, and then they go through on the 6th once the free agent moratorium or the new league year starts, or whatever the language is. The point is, all this stuff, someone's going to have to sort through it and make sure everybody's doing the right stuff and putting in the right stuff to the league office, because they're all going to go through on the 6th. These teams are just kind of like picking for other teams right now. Plus, the Lakers are still paying Luol Deng $5 million. Great point. What's next for Sporting Logically? Hopefully a lot, man. Hopefully a lot. Certainly no lack of content coming out of this draft. That's for sure. Tomorrow, and by tomorrow I mean like when we get off of stream, I'm going to start working on a video for the draft, and it's probably going to be a winners and losers thing like I did last year. So that'll be tomorrow's video, and then I'll probably wait till Monday to put out another one, and it'll be what's next for the Raptors unless something else crazy happens. They just put up, I think it was Bobby Marks or somebody, needs like for the Nuggets. And one of their needs was Michael Porter Jr. looking like a top 3 pick. That's such a weird thing to put there in that context. AD will probably waive that trade kicker before the 6th. So this is a much larger discussion about how much money these athletes make. But why would he waive it? Like, I know that it helps the Lakers because they'll have like $3.5 million more in space, but it's $4 million free dollars. Like, if I'm Anthony Davis, I'm not waiving it. Like, you guys knew, like, because I don't have any sympathy for the Lakers in this situation, because they knew when they made the trade, or at least they should have known, that they didn't have max cap space afterwards. So why is it Anthony Davis's job to waive his trade kicker without the team asking him to beforehand? Now, unless they asked him before the trade was made, hey, would you waive it? And he said yes, so that's a different deal. But if they're asking him after the fact, wait, we thought we were going to have max cap space, but we're actually not. Can you waive your trade kicker? I mean, he has no incentive to. Like, they messed up. They are going to pay the consequences of that. And I understand they're together. He's on that team. But, like, it's just ridiculous how that whole situation went down. The Lakers were like, wait, we don't have max cap space after this? Let's try and rework it. It's ridiculous. Yeah, but AD wants to win. $4 million, that much for him. I understand that, but like, it doesn't make any sense for him to be asked to do that now. Like, if the Lakers, which I'm assuming they did the math before they made the trade, they would have understood that they would not have max cap space. And if they wanted to have 27 million instead of 23, then they should have said, hey, AD, or through whoever, through Clutch or whatever, if we trade for you, would you waive your trade kicker? There's no way they traded for him and then after the fact we're like, hey, wait, we messed up our math. We'd like to have 4 million extra. Do you mind waiving that? Like, that's a conversation you have before you make the move. Like, they shouldn't actively be trying to convince him to waive it right now. And like, I understand, oh, it's just 4 million. Like, these guys make a ton of money. He can make up for it in Hollywood because of all the endorsement stuff. Losing out on $4 million is still losing out on $4 million. No matter if he makes it up or not, he still loses the 4 that he could have had if he didn't waive the trade kicker. So I don't think he's going to waive it, and the Lakers are going to go into free agency with like 23, 24 million in space. Again, unless they agreed to this beforehand and he said he would waive it beforehand and it just hasn't come out in a report yet. Another guy I want to talk about, not draft related, but since we've got another 15 minutes or so, uh, the Al Horford stuff was super weird. And I didn't do a video on everything that happened with the Celtics just because there was other stuff that I wanted to cover, and it just all happened in the same day as the Mike Conley trade, and it doesn't really make sense to cover it now. Because I was actually on the podcast with Funky when I got the notification about Al Horford wanting to opt out, and the notification literally said he wants to re-sign with the team and work on a new deal. And the reasoning for that was he was going to make like 31 next year, but instead he was like, hey, I'll opt out. Maybe I'll take like 20 million for 3 years, so 60 million total, have that long-term security, and roll forward from there with the Celtics. But now someone's going to offer Al Horford 4 years at $100+ million, reportedly. I don't know who that would be. I mean, maybe the Lakers, if they have that much money, if they're able to make that work, or maybe the Mavericks would be a team. I mean, he obviously knows. Like, there's no way that he walks away from the negotiating table with the Celtics unless he knows that someone's going to offer him that much money. But I don't really know if that's a smart investment given his age. I mean, he's still a good player, but he did start to show signs of decline even on the defensive end last year. So that would be a tough thing to invest in if I were a team in free agency. Even a team like the Mavs or the Lakers that are looking, to get somebody that they're not in position for different reasons, not in position to get a max player. I understand why they would look at Al Horford, but that's a lot of money over 4 years. And then another Celtics thing was like, obviously Kyrie. First of all, it's a sign of where we're at, that it's definitely 2019 when you get a notification, a report says that Kyrie Irving has essentially ghosted the Celtics. The fact that that's the vocabulary we're using. But there's also been some interesting stuff coming out about Kyrie and the Nets potentially not wanting him if he doesn't bring Kevin Durant. Now, I don't think that's true because there's been so many positive reports as it relates to Kyrie basically to the Nets being a done deal, that one report saying, we're a little hesitant if he doesn't bring KD. I think they're too far in on this thing now. Like, D'Lo's probably upset because they're going to try and sign another guard. He probably doesn't want to be there anymore. So I wouldn't put too much stock into if he doesn't bring KD, the Nets don't want Kyrie thing. Said Al is great, but the Celtics should not offer 4 for 100. Yeah, I don't think they are. Like, I think that's the reason that he walked away. I don't think there's any chance that Al Horford plays for the Celtics next year because he got word from some team that said, hey, we'll give you 4 years, 100+, and the Celtics weren't willing to do that. They were looking at like 3, probably like 70. So go make your money. No problem with it. Does this Kyrie thing mean that the Cavs did win that trade? I mean, in the most roundabout way possible, yeah, because I'm trying to think of the details off the top of my head. I mean, the Cavs got some kind of value out of Jay Crowder. I guess they got Rodney Hood, who ended up walking. But I mean, basically, they got Colin Sexton for Kyrie, and then the Celtics ended up obviously losing Kyrie, so kind of got him not for free, but like they got the best value out of it, at least in 2019, I guess. Like, until Colin Sexton proves that he's like a really good player, though, I don't know that anybody won that trade by a ton. All right, well, it's unnecessary for you to tweet something that's not a trade or draft related. Imagine being Woj. Like, imagine just being, behind your phone and you've got this information and it's like, imagine when LeBron decided to sign with the Lakers and Woj knew it. Woj was the one that tweeted it. One of the first, at least. But all the time, he's the one breaking stuff. Like, before anybody else knows about it, he knows. And he's sitting there and he's typing up, like the Kristaps Porzingis trade, for example. And he hits send. And he knows that he's just completely changing. He's not completely changing the NBA. But it has such a big impact on the league. And he's the first one to know. And he's letting all of us know. And he knows that we are just waiting for those notifications. It's just imagine just sitting there and just be like, oh, send. Everybody's going to freak out now. It's just, it would be insane. Woj has power that we can only dream of, apparently, and people keep trying to copy it. Like, and if, you know, Sports Insiders is like the new big thing, right? Where, you know, the NFL, Major League Baseball try to copy it, but there's only one Woj. You know, he's just, and it's interesting how he does it too, because in the past, like especially with some LeBron stuff, like he said some really opinionated stuff when he was at Yahoo, and he has to keep a really good relationship with all these sources that he has to be able to have them keep telling him stuff. Like if he angers some of these sources, they're going to be like, I don't want to tell you stuff. If he writes poorly about them, or if he, you know, shares something that they don't want to be shared, like he has to get permission from these guys. Hey, I'm okay with you sharing that. Otherwise, like he's going to end up losing some of his sources and be a big deal for him. So it's not just he's got all these sources that tell him stuff. Like he's got to keep them happy too and make sure that he doesn't do anything to upset them, which is just a really interesting balance. What are my thoughts on Utah after the Conley trade? Just move your mouse on up to the, or if you're on your phone, just move your finger on up to my most recent videos. I put a video out about it like 3.5 hours ago, 4.5 hours ago. You can check that out. We got about 10 more minutes, about 9 or 10 more minutes. I should make a video on Woj's career on how he became the NBA insider. Yeah, might have already done that, actually. It's like, was it this time last year? When did I make that? Sometime in 2018. I don't know. And that's another thing, too, just talking about sources and information and stuff. Something came out yesterday, the day before, that said that the Clippers are still in the lead for Kawhi, but the Raptors are like closing the gap. But it doesn't really seem like there's any actual sources for Kawhi. Like we don't get a ton of information about what's going on with him. So no, I don't follow hockey. I don't. Hey Marcus, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the love. Thank you, man. Would the Pelicans trade for a star in the draft using the cap space that they now have? I would imagine that would have had to include the 4th pick. Like obviously they have more picks now, but the 4th is probably more valuable in like a star scenario. So I think they shopped the 4th pick. They tried to get a player for it, and they're just going to get picks instead, and then get out of Solomon Hill's contract. Jose, what's up, bud? Thank you for tuning in all the way from Spain. Appreciate it, man. Do the Knicks even have a chance at Kawhi? No. They might get a meeting, but that's about it. Do I think the Spurs are going to finally rebuild after 20-plus seasons of greatness? No, I mean, they still got DeMar and LaMarcus Aldridge for another year, and then DeMar's got a player option for the following year, and LaMarcus Aldridge has a non-guaranteed deal for next year's, for like 2 years from now as well. So they're going to at least run it back for one more year. And then maybe after that, maybe they'll go with a little bit more of a youth movement. We'll see. Elias said Cam Johnson of the Warriors. He's another interesting guy, like Ty Jerome. Like these guys have spent 4 years in college, and you know, we get all hung up on some of these younger guys, some of these one and done guys, but like players like Ty Jerome and Cam Johnson can really shoot the ball. He's a big wing, and then Ty Jerome is kind of a combo guard that can really shoot as well. Those are guys to keep an eye on later in the first round that could really help some teams. Spike Lee in the building. This is in Brooklyn, I believe. Barclays Center. I wonder what it would cost to go to the draft. Like, what's a ticket cost to go watch the draft live? I don't know how entertaining it would be live, just because there's not a lot going on. There's Bobo in his spider jacket. Someone said, what's next for the Raptors? Probably going to come out on Monday. That's the plan. Bobo is gigantic. Oh my gosh. I feel bad for him though, because it really doesn't seem like Bol Bol is going to get picked. Like, it really doesn't seem like Bol Bol is going to get picked anywhere before 20, so he's going to have to sit there a while. Man, you gotta like these guys are so excited. Like, I honestly hate that they have them do this where they're doing this walk because, I mean, I'm sure the kids are having a good time, but these guys have got to be so nervous. Like, they're not used to being on TV in this capacity. Like, oh, this is so uncomfortable for some of these guys for sure. Hey Tommy, I appreciate you coming out, bud. Have a good night, or whatever time it is where you are. Appreciate it. Bobo second round, that would I think somebody would trade up into the first before he got to the second round. What is Darius Garland wearing? Is he wearing a robe? What am I looking at? I mean, I can't really judge people's fashion choices. I wear a t-shirt and shorts every day, but Jackson Hayes. Man, some of these dudes are huge. They're getting paid millions. I'm sure they'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, big night for them, but still, just the excitement, the adrenaline. Like, you got to be extremely nervous, don't you? Bobo won't get past 15. I don't know about that. I mean, there's like Tyler Hero right here. Like, there's a lot of Kentucky guys that are probably going to go between like 10 and 15. PJ Washington. If Bobo gets picked before 20, I'd be really surprised. What's wrong with the t-shirt and shorts? Absolutely nothing. I'm just saying, like, that's the extent of my fashion knowledge. So I don't know if I'm really in a position to judge any of these guys. Also, are we over the like having the school you went to on the inside of the jacket? Or are we still doing that this year? 7:26 a.m. on a Friday morning here in Western Australia. Well, I appreciate you hanging out at 7:30 in the morning. Charlotte will take Bobo at 12. I don't know about that. Romeo Langford's an interesting guy to watch as well. Super talented. Just don't know if he's going to be able to put it all together in the pros. Not a big fan of Nasir Little, which I've talked about in the past. Just don't think he's very good. Like, I don't think he's all that skilled. I think he's a really good athlete. He's big. Like, he could definitely develop some skill, but right now, like, I don't see it with him. 1:30 a.m. in Germany, 1:27 in Montenegro. That's something I've definitely noticed. Just like looking through the comments and stuff, there's a pretty big international audience on this channel. International for me. So I really appreciate all you guys tuning in from wherever you are, whatever time it is. I appreciate you guys coming to hang out, even though I don't have the actual draft up. Obviously, uh, this is a really fun way to watch the draft for me, at least. So. Freezing cold take on Nasir. I don't know about all that. I'm pretty confident in my assessment of not being that excited about Nasir. Man, you guys are really getting up at 1:30 or maybe staying up at 1:30 in the morning on a Thursday to watch the draft. Man, that's so cool to see Kobe White. Like, probably going to get drafted top 6. And then there's Zion. Why trade the 4th pick? Solomon had 1 year left. I mean, apparently the Pelicans just really didn't want to keep that 4th pick. They appreciated it as an asset, but they've been trying to move it since they got it in the AD trade, ideally for a player, but they couldn't really find a player they wanted. And I guess they're just going with, they want more picks. They get 8, 17, and then 35 as well. And then a 2020 protected Cavs pick as well. I think it's top 10 protected. So that's their mindset, I guess, is they weren't that excited about anybody at 4, and they knew that it had value because people wanted to move up. And they said, okay, we'll just, we'll take extra picks, as if they don't already have enough. But I think it makes sense for them. Why would Kobe White go to the Cavs? They got Sexton. What I think is going to happen, prediction-wise, now I'm not the fan with sources or anything. I don't have any insider knowledge or anything like that. But just watching, listening, reading, either when the pick is made, like after the pick is made or before it, someone's probably going to move up to 5 and get Darius Garland, because the Timberwolves are taking him if he gets to 6, and then the Timberwolves will take Kobe White instead. So I'd be pretty surprised if those weren't the 5th and 6th picks, Garland and White. Knicks get another draft pick for Frank Ntilikina tonight. I mean, maybe in the 2nd round. Like, he doesn't have any value. Sorry for moving the mic around so much. Yeah, maybe the 58th pick for Frank. Maybe. That seems about right. He's on one of the worst teams in the league, and they couldn't get him on the floor consistently. Whether that was a coaching decision or what, but it just... You'd think that if he was going to have not a breakout season, but a season in which he showed something and actually saw minutes, it would be this past year, but nope. My team is the Nets, Henry, in case you guys didn't know. Pelicans should have taken Culver 4th and trade Holiday for center future picks. We talked about this a little bit earlier because I started the stream like an hour ago at this point because everything was going on, and I started a little bit early. I would imagine they're going to try and keep Drew Holiday just to have an adult in the room, like just to have somebody that is a veteran, has been in the league, and can kind of help some of these young guys along rather than trading Holiday for assets. Even though he is valuable, they could certainly get something out of him. All right, we're supposed to start at 7:30. What are we doing? So if Culver's on the board for the Cavs, they're going to take him. The Cavs are going to take a wing if they don't trade the pick. So DeAndre Hunter's going to go 4. So it makes sense for them to get Culver. But if they're not that excited about him and they can trade back, somebody moving up, maybe the Bulls at 7 moving up to 4 to get... not 4, moving up to 5 to get Darius Garland, wouldn't be surprised. So, I really think that 5th pick is going to be moved. But if not, they're probably going to pick a wing. And I just, so like these guys on ESPN, these guys that are like, have access to draft workouts and stuff, it makes sense for them to have an actual opinion on Darius Garland. Apparently people really like him. That's all I'm going off of, because he barely played in college, and I'm not going to go off high school tape to evaluate an NBA prospect. So I don't really have takes on Darius Garland that are my own. It's just, I'm just going off what other people are saying because like I haven't seen the guy. Am I taking orders with the headphones? No, I have the audio up over here. I'm watching the draft over there so that I can listen to that. And that way it's not playing into the mic out loud. Will Beal be traded? I doubt it. It looks like they're really committed to just paying him, giving him an extension, and making him their focal point, and hoping that John Wall comes back relatively healthy. So here we go. It's always weird too, because I watch the NFL draft almost every year, and I'm just used to Roger Goodell getting out on the podium and getting booed, but Adam Silver's just out there with cheers. Oh, shout out to the Raptors on the podium for Adam Silver. I knew he was going to say that because everybody's been talking about this since the Raptors won the championship. That everybody's talking about how they won it without a lottery pick. It's just I knew he was going to announce that and say that. It's just weird to say that on draft night. Like, hey, we're really excited about the lottery tonight. By the way, our NBA champion just won the championship without a single lottery pick, so don't pay attention to the next 13 picks. Like, here we go. I swear, if these first four teams take all 5 minutes to make their pick, I'm gonna be mad. Like we know who's going 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's just let's just roll through it. Who should the Bucks pick? They don't have a pick. They traded it to the Pistons. They don't have a selection. Minnesota is engaged in multiple conversations on the number 6 pick acquired in the deal with Phoenix. Okay, so they move up to 6, supposedly to get Darius Garland. And now I guess they think someone's going to move up to 5. So they're trying to get back out of this. This is Minnesota at its finest. Oh my gosh. How do you trade for a pick and then immediately try and move it? Oh my gosh, what are we doing? Yeah. Wolves are trying to trade number 6. Like that has to be it, right? That they have to have moved up to 6 thinking they're going to get Darius Garland at 6 because the Cavs are at 5. They're not going to take a point guard. And now they think someone's going to trade in front of them at 5. They don't want Kobe White at 6. I don't know. I don't know really what they're trying to do there. But maybe they don't end up moving it. But Woj tweeted it. So it's definitely on their radar. All right. Come on now. It shouldn't take you more than 2 minutes to get this pick in and announce it. Got the whole street filled up with Pelicans fans. Right. He said that this guy's saying they're super hyped for Zion, obviously New Orleans. Never anticipated a prospect more than Zion. Like I get that it's Zion, but I mean people were pretty excited for AD at 1. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. I gotta roll the volume down. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. This guy's trying to hype up a street full of people that it's the draft, but like we're excited too, but I don't know why you're yelling and screaming. This guy's crowd surfing. Oh my gosh. I know that he's like the college football guy and supposed to get really excited about stuff, but what are we doing? Pick is in. I wonder who it's gonna be. I wonder. I don't know about y'all, but if this was me, like if you know, whether it's the first pick or you know, some just anywhere in the first round, I would cry. I wouldn't be able to make it to the stage. I would 100% cry if I got drafted in the NBA like that. Like it's just something you work so hard for, and like instant millionaire. It's insane. Gosh, I'm just excited to watch Zion play basketball again, personally. I'm at the draft and they just pick Morant, right? I'm sure. I'm sure that's how it went down. Imagine. Because their entire buildup obviously has been about Zion. They've got people in the streets, basically a parade for Zion. Well said. I can't believe my Pistons got a first rounder for John Lou in addition to a wing. Yeah, that they got the first because they took on Tony Snell's deal, and the Bucks are trying to max out Chris Middleton and not pay the luxury tax. But I mean, it's a move that a team like the Pistons should definitely make because they need all the picks and assets they can get. Here we go. Let's go. It's crazy, man. Like just imagine being him, man. Like you work so hard, you know, years and years and years, and you finally hear somebody call your name as a number one pick. Like you get goosebumps thinking about it. Man. That's crazy. Because you know he's been anticipating it since the season ended. The thing is, too, like, as soon as the draft is over, like, I'm ready for Summer League to start. Am I going to refresh the page? It should update, no? I don't think I should have to refresh it for an update. That would be annoying. Well, it says at the top. It doesn't say it down here. I really thought it would say it down here. Yeah, he's about to cry. He's choked up. Yeah. I'm telling you, like, I wouldn't be able to handle it. Yeah, so it says at the top, and I had this pulled up because I thought it was gonna update, but I guess not. Is there another page I can put it on that would make more sense? Put up best available. Because you can see at the top where these guys are getting picked. Man, that's awesome. Like, I know we want to interview him and we want to interview Mom, but oh, man, I just wish they let him have his moment. Like, I'm telling you, if it was me, I would be crying my eyes out just out of just relief of knowing you finally got picked and you got picked first. Like, I would not want to be on TV. It's awesome, man. Seems like a legitimately good dude too. So that's awesome. Zion crying meme. Yeah, it's probably gonna happen. All right, let's roll through this. Pick is in for 2. Let's go. Let's get these picks in. I'd get drafted. Like, I wouldn't be in the green room. Honestly, like, it would be a tough decision. Like, let's just say I know I'm going to be picked top 5. This is so far out of any kind of realm of possibility. But let's just say, like, I'm coming out of high school and they're like, yeah, we know you're going to be picked top 5. Do you want to be in the green room? I think it would be a once in a lifetime thing and it'd be super cool to be there, shake Adam Silver's hand. But at the same time, like, I would want to be around friends and family and then get picked and just celebrate and enjoy that moment in my own space. I better stay for the second round. It's gonna be awesome. They're gonna finish with the second round at like 1 in the morning or something at this rate. Like, once we get to the point where they're not even like they're at commercial when players are being picked, that's probably where I'm gonna stop. Because I gotta make a video on this stuff too. Like, as soon as this is over, I'm making myself some coffee and I'm cranking out a video as quick as I can, a winners and losers thing. So I don't know, man. I think you could make the argument that it would have made sense for the Grizzlies to keep Mike Conley for another year to kind of help Ja along, and then he'd be an expiring the following year, and they could trade him then. But at the same time, they don't really want to be good next year. They want to be bad enough that their first round pick falls within the top 6 protection. They don't have to give it to the Celtics, and then be really good in 2020, or be good enough that their 2021 pick isn't as valuable, and then they just give that one to the Celtics because it's unprotected anyway. So they'd rather be bad for one more year, and Mike Conley obviously helps them win games. So it makes sense that they traded him and get value now. I mean, the Joker was Nikola Jokic was sleeping when he was picked. I don't know if I'd be asleep, but it depends on where he was watching from, I guess. Yeah, he was just. I'll be honest. Like, I think a lot of people were skeptical. Not a lot of people. I think there was a good amount of skeptics going into the NCAA tournament about John Morant just because of the competition and everything. And at least for me personally, like, I hadn't watched him a ton in terms of like real games and not highlights. But the way he played in the NCAA tournament, I was immediately hooked. I was like, this guy is going to be insane in the NBA with all the spacing, with his incredible passing ability, with his size, his athleticism. As long as he can shoot, he's going to be incredible. Like, I'm really excited to see John. The Aaron Fox comp is interesting. I mean, it makes sense. It's just weird because they never compare lefties to righties, or righties to lefties, I guess. Jay Billis said the Knicks need everything. Apparently, I mean, who name like 5 Knicks players right now? And two, and like in this scenario too, obviously you don't know what like questions they're gonna ask you, but I would have my stuff like I'd have some stuff memorized for like 4 or 5 different variations of questions, so I could sound articulate and like and because in all that nervousness and stuff, like it's gonna be a struggle to get out some thoughts that actually make sense. I'd be so ready and prepared to be interviewed if I knew it was gonna happen. Cam to the Knicks, doubtful. We're almost to the part where we actually don't know what's happening. So so we've named 3 Knicks players: Kevin Knox, Hazonia, DeAndre Jordan. Hazonia and DeAndre are both free agents. Ntilikina's on there too. Mitchell Robinson, Dennis Smith. I'm just saying, like, they need everything. Jaren Jackson right there to hug Jah Morant. That's gonna be so. Oh man, you got to be excited if you're a Grizzlies fan. Like that's gonna be such a fun combo. It's always nice to have like a perimeter guy and a big guy to work together. Spike Lee chilling, waiting. They should get Spike on the at the desk. Like they should get him on as soon as RJ gets drafted, and just see what he has to say. Yeah, pick is in. And you see, it still says the Lakers are up next, but they're drafting for the Hawks at this point, which is just so weird to think about. Cleveland is Cleveland is still discussing possible trades, including the 5th overall pick and separate deals to unload J.R. Smith, partially guaranteed expiring, that would absorb a bad contract in the Cavs cap space attached to another first-round pick. Yeah, I'd be really, really surprised if the Cavs didn't trade that pick. So if you're, quick question, like if you're Zion, so pre-AD trade, right? Like let's just say AD is there still, you don't know what they're going to get in return for him. It's kind of a weird situation. If you had to pick, would you rather go to the Knicks and play for New York, despite the fact you wouldn't be drafted 1, you'd be drafted 3? Or would you rather be the first overall pick and go to New Orleans, not knowing what's going to happen with AD? Like, is wanting to play in New York that strong of a desire? Oh. So, I mean, there's a little bit of intrigue with the next pick because it could potentially be Cam Reddish, apparently, because the Hawks are trying to decide between Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, but it looks like it's going to be Hunter. I'd rather be 1 for the extra money on the contract. Great point. Well, that's the answer to the question. Atlanta GM Travis Schlenk made the move into number 4 with an unmistakable prospect mind, Virginia 4 DeAndre Hunter. A year ago, he wanted Trae Young. This time, he wanted Hunter. Hawks building a legitimate young core. So there's your answer. 4 is going to be DeAndre Hunter, which is interesting because he's very much a complimentary guy. I don't really think he's going to turn into like a high-scoring wing or anything, but he's a really good defender. He's got good size, shot well in limited volume in college. He's just really solid on the wing and is clearly a guy that they wanted to have. So, and then once we get to 5, things get interesting because you've got Kobe White, Darius Garland, and then Jarrett Culver, and they're going to go in some combination, I would imagine, the next couple of picks after this one, unless Cam Reddish sneaks in there. Like, to me, it's those three guys. It's Kobe White, Darius Garland, and Jarrett Culver are the three next best players, and then there's a bit of a gap, and you've got Cam and everybody after that. Updated. Just chatted with my sources, and they say Bol Bol's getting bored already. If I was him, man, like, I don't even know if I would have been in the green room because I know it's going to be a long, long wait. Kawhi Leonard will be a complimentary wing, they said. Yeah, but how many times have we actually had a guy like Kawhi, someone that was picked where he was and ended up being an MVP caliber guy? So we can't just say that about every complimentary player. Oh, he's going to be, that's what they said about Kawhi. So can't really do that with every one of those. Rest easy, Bol to the Spurs. Oh, so much Bol love. Where would y'all want, like, assuming that it's not like your team, right? Instead of just like, oh, I want Bol to go to my team, where would be the best place for him to go to actually end up being a really good player? I mean, the Spurs have got to be on that list. Get the limited time off. Yeah, I can't do anything about the ads really. I guess I can scroll. There we go. On the clock, the Hawks from the Lakers through New Orleans is the way it's worded. So this is going to be DeAndre Hunter. I really hope RJ Barrett's nickname isn't the Maple Mamba. Yeah, that's that's Andrew Wiggins. So that's not great. Hawks would be the best fit. I can see that. I could see that. The Wizards, I don't know. They're a little dysfunctional. I don't know if that's the best place for him to be. I'm talking about like development wise, getting him healthy, making sure that he's developing properly around good teammates in a good situation. That's more what I'm thinking. Fake Twitter notification. Not Woj, not interested. All right, I am gonna be right back. Hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. DeAndre Hunter. Who would have thought? Big surprise. I had to go grab some food because I started streaming early and forgot to eat beforehand, and I am starving. So, sorry about that. Check Woj. What we got? Barring a trade, the Cavs are focused on Vandy guard Darius Garland with a 5th pick. Okay. So they either think that him and Colin Sexton are going to play together, or they know that he has value and they're looking to trade him later on in the draft. So I guess that means the Timberwolves are going to take Kobe White at 6 unless they trade out of it. Not burgers, by the way. Sloppy Joes. But I got to eat something. I'm starving. Audio isn't working. What are you talking about? Everything's plugged in. I'm getting mic feedback here. Cool. Thank you. Jeff with the 5 said, love all the content. Keep it up. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you for hanging out. All right, yeah, the audio's fine. I knew it was going to be a bad idea to eat, but I'm starving, and I'm the kind of person that gets super, super hangry. So. Yeah, someone said they'll probably trade it later. I'm listening to Woj. Okay. So they're set on Garland at 5, but again, like they could easily trade him later if that's someone that a lot of people want. Not the greatest segment there from Woj. It's a little shaky, but I understand. I understand it can be tough. So, I mean, 6 is going to have to be like Kobe White or Jarrett Culver, right? Like, there's no way Cam Reddish goes 6, right? Yeah, Woj just compared Sexton and Garland to CJ and Dame. He was just saying what they're imagining in terms of kind of where they think those two might go, and excuse me, just the way that they think they might play together, I guess. I got mac and cheese as well. So. I will say, Of all the spots in the top 5, I would like the team I would least like to go to is definitely Cleveland. Kenny with the 5 said, "Love your channel, one of the best NBA related channels on here." I appreciate it, man. Thank you for hanging out. Yep. That's where they went. Crazy. That is not the guy that I thought. Excuse me, the team that I thought would end up with Darius Garland. I thought someone would trade to 4 or 5 to get him. And it says Minnesota's still on the clock for number 6 and still on the phones discussing trade propositions. So it's really weird that they moved up to 6 and are immediately looking to move it, but maybe they thought they were going to get Garland. So, I mean, that has to be it, right? Alex said DeAndre Hunter went 4th. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, I always thought, I appreciate the 10, by the way, Alex. I mean, it makes sense that he went to a team like Atlanta. I don't know if I would have picked him at 4, but he's going to be a really good complementary player for them. So as long as their other guys work out, like as long as Trey and like as long as they have other stars and other really, really good high-end players, DeAndre Hunter should be a really good complementary guy around all those guys. So once again, I appreciate the 10. See, like this is what I'm talking about. I can't have an opinion on this guy because they're showing like high school highlights. You know, like he barely played in college. How am I supposed to have an opinion on him? Like I think he's actually wearing like a trench coat robe looking thing. Who knows? Cam to Minnesota? I don't know. It makes me nervous for them and for their fans that they're trying to trade back out of the pick because that tells me obviously they moved up for somebody, right? So that tells me that whoever they moved up for, they realized they weren't going to be able to get and they're trying to get back out of it. So whoever they get at 6 is not somebody they originally wanted to take at 6. Bobby Marks' team needs for the Suns, who aren't picking now. They're just, I mean, they're picking, but for the Timberwolves. Said point guard and an NBA caliber bench. That's a good way of saying that they don't have NBA players beyond like 5, 6, or 7 in their rotation. Yeah, I mean, if they keep the pick, like it's probably going to be. It's got to be. I mean, I think it's got to be Kobe White, right? Like, if they, I mean, they need a point guard. They moved up for a point guard in Garland, but he got picked right ahead of them. Like, if they don't move the pick and they're taking a long time to make it, then I mean, it's got to be Kobe White. Which means there's going to be a lot of wings available, a lot of wings and bigs available because it's pretty much just Garland and White in terms of point guards at the top. Right. So someone said, so moving back and getting future assets is a right move after 3. Um, That's a fair point, but man, I can't think of any teams that, many other teams at least, that would move up to 6 and then immediately try and trade back. Okay. Timberwolves are going to take Jarrett Culver at 6. So Kobe White's still on the board, and I think the Bulls are next. So he'll probably go there, right? Yeah. He's got to. I mean, but again, like, it's pretty clear that that's not the guy they wanted to pick. Like, there's no way that you move up to 6 and then immediately try and move back unless whoever you are going to end up getting at 6 is not who you wanted initially. Someone asked, do I think 2 6'2" guards can work in Cleveland? I think there's potential for it to work because Colin Sexton's, got good length and not great height, but okay, should be a really good defender, ideally. And so him as kind of being like the de facto 2, even though he's going to play on and off the ball, like in terms of who he's guarding, he'll probably guard 2s instead of Garland. I think it could work. Yeah. So Kobe White's sitting there dancing, and they're focused on him with the camera for some reason, even though Woj said that they're taking Culver. So who knows? So basically, like if yeah, so Woj basically said that it seems like Chicago's going to go with Kobe White at 7. So it makes sense. So basically, the Timberwolves traded Jimmy Butler in the 11th pick for Robert Covington and Jarrett Culver because they used Saric in the deal. So Jarrett Culver doesn't seem that excited. Bulls are focused on Kobe White at 7. Makes sense. And so then we go to Atlanta at 8. I mean, that's probably Cam, right? Yeah. I mean, I'd imagine that would be it, which would be, I mean, in a lot of people's opinion, it'd be awesome for the Hawks to end up with Cam at 8 when that's 2 really good wings. Wow, that'd be awesome for them. I mean, unless they wanted a big, or they wanted the kid from the Sekou guy from Guinea. I would imagine they'll probably go Cam Reddish at 8 though if he's still there. Excuse me. Honestly, like for the Bulls, that's like one of the best case scenarios for them because like they could have gotten Garland if they'd found a way to move up, right? But I mean, I love Kobe White, and he's a guy. He's at a position they definitely need help at in terms of point guard. So worked out pretty well for them. The Pels have 8. You guys are right. Still probably Cam Reddish. Cam and Zion on the same team. It gets confusing because the reason why was because I looked up on the ESPN thing that I haven't updated because the trade hasn't actually gone through. So you're right. The Pels are definitely at 8. Not bad. So I'm still probably Cam though. Don't want my food. Sorry. I knew I should have eaten before I got honest and think about it. What's my first name? I say my name in the beginning of like every single one of my videos. My name's Tucker. I know it's a little different, but that's my name. Why not draft a center at 8 for the Pels? Do you think they trade Drew and draft a 2? I mean, it just kind of seems like the consensus is that Cam Reddish is ahead of like someone like Jackson Hayes or Bol obviously would be another big, but Jackson Hayes would probably be the first like or the next big guy off the board. So unless they go with like some surprise pick like Rui Hachimura, I would imagine they're going to go Cam at 8 after the Bulls go white at 7. I look like a Josh. Okay. Interesting. Favorite kind of pizza? I mean, classic pepperoni's pretty good. My like, it's not even like that weird, but my only weird one would be like bacon and onion on pizza. Is that weird? I don't know. I really like bacon and onion pizza, but it's gotta be like crispy bacon and like crispy onions. I don't know. It's been 50 minutes for 6 picks. They didn't start right at 7:30. They started like 7:40, but still, yeah, it's been a while. If the comparison for Culver is Jimmy Butler, then we'll yell at Cat and then demand a trade. Maybe. Am I from the South? Yeah, I'm from North Carolina. I was born in North Carolina and I still live here. Pineapple on pizza, no go. Don't like it. I don't like warm pineapple. Like I love pineapple just regular. I'll eat pineapple just like freshly cut up, but I can't do warm pineapple in like ham or pizza or anything like that. There's Kobe White going 7th. And now we find out what the Pelicans do at 8. Bacon and onions, a classic with nice barbecue sauce. That sounds pretty good. I used to put barbecue sauce on my pizza all the time in like elementary school. I don't know why. Probably because it was like cafeteria pizza and I was trying to make it taste better. Yeah, North Carolina kid, Kobe White, 7th pick. Good for him, man. Someone said his hat, which I'm assuming means he tried to put the hat. He just about fell. Which I'm assuming means he tried to put the hat on and his hair is all over the place. Yep, there he goes. He had to know that was going to be a thing, though. My UNC fan? Good, yeah, good try. Nah, I graduated from NC State. Okay, what we got? Wait, why did I just get a second Woj notification about Kobe White? I had the same one twice. That's weird. Pro player comp for Kobe White is Jamal Murray. I'm probably gonna go to like I'll probably like finish out the lottery and then I'll get off just because I don't know how much is really going to happen after that. If teams are going to move up, they were going to move up into like the top 10 or 12. Didn't know I was a part of the Wolfpack. Yeah, dude. Graduated class of, oh gosh, 2017. Sorry. Yeah, my old room. I haven't changed the background or anything in here. I really don't like it, but this is the new office setup for now. I really don't like this orange thing in the background of the gray walls, so I want to change it eventually. Put up some net stuff, some NC State stuff. I used to have an NC State thing and a Carolina Panthers thing in the background before, but I'll work on it. I know what's going to happen too. Like, I'm going to put up net stuff within like the next month, and if the Nets manage to sign some free agents and are really good, people will be like, "Oh, he's a bandwagon fan," when really I've been here the whole time. But yeah, I'm not a fan. Someone said, Henry says, or excuse me, Harry said, "Am I the only one not feeling the draft hats?" I'm not a fan either. I don't know what these logos are. Like the weird text on the side. Not a big fan. White's comparison is Gilbert Arenas. So his comparison on TV is Gilbert Arenas, but I got a Beach Report notification that said Jamal Murray. New Orleans still discussing trades at number 8. Like, are they going to trade back again? How many picks do they want? Are they trading it for a player? I don't know. They just really don't want to pick anybody else, like, apparently. Yep, Pell's discussing trades. Let's see what happens. They got 2.5 minutes on my screen, and so they got to make the pick. I mean, there's no way they're moving down again unless they're trying to get like a future pick, but that's kind of dangerous. So, I don't know. Maybe they're talking about certain players they're trying to get. Seriously, just pick a guy, Griff. He's just allergic to draft picks, apparently. I'd be pretty surprised if they traded it, but we'll see. Pelicans go full hinky and trade every pick. They're trying to, apparently. I mean, it seems like if they're going to pick somebody, it's going to be Cam Reddish, right? All right, here we go. Okay. New Orleans is focused on Jackson Hayes at number 8. Well then, Cam Reddish all the way down to I mean, he's not getting past the Wizards, right? Hold on, I got to text Rex. It's my buddy that is a Wizards fan. That'd be crazy. Like, I think that would be like if there's a team that is like, man, please let Cam Reddish fall to us. It's probably Washington. Like, they need good young players like that. David Griffin imagines the most athletic frontcourt in the NBA with Zion Williamson and Texas center Jackson Hayes. I mean, they needed a 5, so maybe that's the guy they kept trading down for. Yeah, there's no way that Cam Reddish goes outside the top 10. He's going to go 9 or 10. And I'd be surprised even because I'd be surprised even if the Wizards passed on him. It's a good point. Sam says, "How does the lack of president of basketball operations affect the Wizards?" It's a good like they don't have a GM right now. Like they don't have like a head. I mean, they have somebody running the room, obviously, but they still have not hired anybody after getting rid of Ernie Grunfeld. So I kind of like the Jackson Hayes pick for the Pels. Like it makes sense for them to get a 5-man next to Zion. Really athletic. Interesting. Again, like I would be shocked if Reddish falls past 10 because the Hawks were thinking about him at 4 apparently. Yeah, I mean, if you want a high upside guy for the rest of the draft, Cam is definitely the guy. So it should be exciting, definitely, to watch those two play together. I'm talking myself into this. Like this seems fun. Wizards are taking Little. I would be. I'm not a Wizards fan. I'd be heartbroken for the Wizards if they took Nasir Little instead of Cam Reddish. There's no way. All right, Chauncey, where's your comparison at? Tyson Chandler. I like it. So where are we at now for the Pels? They got Drew Holiday, they got Zion. Excuse me. Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, and Hayes. I like that 5-man group. I like that a lot. People freaking out in the chat about the Wizards. I don't know if I'm getting trolled or if it's real. Man, yeah, imagine this guy like Jackson Hayes like hey man, you're gonna go play with Zion and Brandon Ingram and Lonzo. Like that's gotta be so exciting. Cause you know all the hype that goes along with somebody like Zion. Like that's oh man, that'd be awesome. This has got pick is in. This has got to be Cam Reddish. Like, there's no way it's not. Here we go. No Woj tweet, by the way, so far about who they're picking. Wait. Okay, so over the last couple of days, like I'd seen some hype about Rui as like a lottery pick guy instead of in the 20s or between 15 and 20. Oh my gosh. I did not think that he was going to be a top 10 guy. Like, I don't have anything against him. Skilled guy at the 4 spot, not the best athlete, but should be a good shooter at the 4 spot and is skilled. Wow. This is the first like truly shocking pick. Atlanta's got to pick Reddish. There's no way he gets outside of the top 10. Like, imagine if it gets to Minnesota and they end, or not Minnesota. Imagine it gets to Phoenix and they end up with Cam. Like, that's, and that's why you need a president of basketball operations. I don't know. Atlanta's focus on Duke's Cam Reddish at 10. Okay, cool. So Cam's gonna go 10. Wow. That was not something that I saw coming. Definitely less potential than some of the other players on the board, like Cam Reddish, but like I said, skilled guy. Spent a few years in college on some really good Gonzaga teams. If he can be a good shooter for them, could be a nice 4-man. I just don't know if I would have picked him at 9. I feel like they could have gotten him at a different spot. Wait. Chauncey just compared this man to Kawhi Leonard on national TV. Why? What about him What about Hachimura's game reminds him of Kawhi Leonard? Oh my gosh. What am I watching? Definitely thought Cam would go before 10, I agree, but he could end up in a really good spot in Atlanta. Or he will, apparently, according to Woj. That's insane. So the Hawks end up with DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish as 2 really good wings. Good size where both of them can play the 3 or the 4. That could be amazing for them. And then we're back to the Suns at 11. He's already better than Kawhi. All right, so it looks like we're going to go... Yeah, it looks like we're going to Reddish. Reddish at 10. Honestly, fellas, I think I'm about to hop off. That's the whole top 10. This is taking 2 hours. I've been on for 2 hours because I got on a little bit early. It's taking them an hour just to get through 10 picks. I don't know what's going to happen at 11 with Phoenix and then Charlotte at 12, but I said I'd probably make it to the lottery, and we're like 2 or 3 picks away, and we already know what the Hawks are doing at 10. So I appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out. At one point, we had like 1,300 viewers, and we've had 40,000 total playbacks on the stream, which is insane. So I really appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with me, but I think I'm going to hang it up right here. I'm pretty tired. I'm going to start working on a video. Tomorrow I will have winners and losers from the draft. Certainly a lot to go through with all the trades and everything. And then probably Monday will be what's next for the Raptors. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time.